All right, let's take a look at how we can nest match inside of different functions to make things more dynamic. And we'll start by going back to the first example that we did where we were figuring out the name of the item based on the product ID, but just using index by itself, we had to put in the column and row number. Now we know that match generates a number. We can make it more dynamic by nesting match inside of our index function. And we're going to do it for both the row and the column. Now, I'm going to do it for the column because the column names are the same here as they are up there. So I'm going to actually have it look for the column names too. And I'm going to make a named range here, and I'm going to call it headers. Headers. All right, and that'll help me to do that. So here we go. Let's insert our index function. And I'm going to go ahead and establish my array. So I'm going to look inside of this range of cells here, product table. Now to do my row number, match. All right. I'm going to match the, look for the product ID, which is right here in cell A16. Now, whenever you're doing these, you want to think ahead. I want to be able to just copy this right over to the stock status column and have that work too. So what I'm going to do here is I am going to lock just the column for my product ID. I'm not going to lock the row, because when I copy it down, I want it to go to each new product. But I'm just going to lock the column. I'm going to use a mixed reference. I'm just going to put my $ in front of the column heading for that. Okay. My second part of my match is where I want to look, my range lookup, and that is going to be product ID. And I want to do an exact match there, so I'll put a 0. And it's establishing that this is in row 4. Now, for this one, I could, since I know I'm looking for the name, I could just come and put product, column 1. But why do that when we can make this dynamic with match? Our headings are the same. So I'm going to say match. I want you to look for this item name. Now, with this one, I want the column to change, but not the row. So when I copy it across, I want it to look for stock status, but I don't want it to move out of the header row, okay? So I'm going to do the opposite here, and I'm just going to lock the row. So I'm doing a mixed reference where I'm locking the row. That's beautiful. Where am I going to look for this? Inside of the headers area. You just saw me make that name range. Wanted to do an exact match, and look at that, guys. It's identifying for me that I'm in column number 1. And it's looking for serving spoon. Click OK. Copy that down. And because I thought ahead, I can just copy this guy right across and down, and it's figuring out who's in stock and who's not. Look at that. Wow. So using index and match together makes a really powerful function where you can find stuff anywhere. Doesn't matter direction, doesn't matter VLOOKUP, what have you. Does not matter. We can look and find wherever the data actually is, and that works out really great. I want you to experiment. We don't have a VLOOKUP here, but I want you to experiment using the match function in the column index portion of your V or H lookup. Simply go into the column index number portion of it, and if the heading names are the same, you can tell it to find that heading in the header area of your overall list, and it'll bring back the exact position of it. And now you have a dynamic column index number or row index number where the VLOOKUP can't be broken. If somebody inserts a column, deletes a column or row or what have you, it's going to be dynamic. So experiment with that, and it's really going to make your V and H lookups more powerful as well.